All right, so Pierre Poilievre has released a new ad targeting Mark Carney and criticizing him for his lack of a deal with the U.S. in terms of trade. So let's react to it.
No place better symbolizes the Canada-U.S. tug of war for auto jobs than the river separating Detroit from Windsor. A tug of war that has intensified as President Trump has made clear he wants our auto sector and our auto jobs. Now, of course, Mark Carney promised that he could, quote, handle Trump, that he could, quote, negotiate a win, and that he would have a deal by July 21st. Well, here we are. It's almost November, and there's no...
Motherfucker, that is not Mark Carney's fault, and you know that. Shut the fuck up. As if you would have gotten anything better, Poilievre. Like, what are you talking about? All you do is chirp from the fucking sidelines. If you ever fucking played hockey, it's that kid that shit, but all he fucking does is chirp. That is him. All he does is chirp from the bench. And that's his entire job. Like, if you notice, he never has any solutions or like an answer. All he has is criticism all the time. And you would be on your knees, a little bitch boy, for Trump. Shut the fuck up.
Deal, no win, no elbows, and increasingly, no jobs. In fact, the Prime Minister promised that he was going to build an all-in-Canada network of automotive production. Since that time, what we've seen is the tragic loss of so many jobs. Just recently, Stellantis announced it was moving
one company that employed a lot of people, yes, is not an example of the entire industry, and we can't control what other companies want to do, especially American companies.
Operations from a 3,000 worker plant in Brampton, and of course, there's been about 1,000 workers who lost their jobs at the Cami plant in Ingersoll, and another 700 workers in Oshawa that have lost their jobs. Meanwhile, GM has announced that it's making $4 billion of...
Okay, let's talk about the last time a conservative was in power. Because it was Stephen Harper who led us through not one but two economic crises, and how many jobs were lost under him? So many. All of these lost jobs are due to a trade war that's been waged against us. It is not Mark Carney's choice to have started the war. He wasn't even in power when all this shit really started. Like, and we, like, you almost... People came out in droves to vote against you, Pierre, because they knew that you would be the wrong answer for this. I disagree with Carney on a handful of issues, but I have the utmost faith in him compared to you.
Investment in the U.S. Stellantis, $13 billion of investment. That's money leaving Canada to go to the...
Yeah, they're being extorted by a mafia gangster boss, a con man. Like,
the United States of America, making them richer and us poorer, all bursting in and shattering into smithereens the promises Mark Carney made to those workers that he would protect their jobs. Of course,
it's been less than a year.
Of course, he made promises that no one could ever keep, and he broke promises that he should have been able to direct.
Motherfucker. Do you think that you would have been able to keep your promises? Because I know you wouldn't have, because you're a little bitch boy. Shut the fuck up.
We needed to focus on the things.
This dude never shuts the fuck up. He is always fucking yapping. Jesus Christ, can you just shut the fuck up? You smug little bitch. Like, shut the fuck up.
We can control on the Canadian side of the border. For example, the government's plan to ban internal combustion engines, gas and diesel-powered vehicles, is already killing jobs even though it's not yet implemented. Because, of course, if you're a business looking at making an investment in a plant, you're not going to do it if that plant is going to be banned or severely.
Conservatives act like evolution and moving away from a certain industry just gets rid of all of those jobs and there's no new ones ever again. If an industry is switching to a different structural form, there's going to be a bunch of new jobs created through that new structure. So all of these people with losing jobs over here, there's going to be a big pool of jobs for them to take right there. And what you're talking about is literally killing the planet. I live in Nova Scotia, and if you had told me 10 years ago that we would be in a drought, I would have laughed in your face. Growing up, it was like there were 2 weeks of the summer that were not raining. Now the whole summer didn't rain. That is not normal. We're having wildfires in the Atlantic provinces. We're having wildfires all across Canada. This is unheard of. The world is on fire, and we need to do something about it now. We need to do something about it 20 years ago. We needed to, like, oh my God.
Penalized by a government mandate 3 or 4 years down the road. In fact, you'd move it to another place, like the US, where there is no such mandate. Conservatives believe that Canadian business and
if we have to lose a couple companies in order to try and save the country from being swallowed up by rising sea levels or being burnt down, then I'm okay with that, Pierre. Because we can create new industries where we provide jobs that provide renewable energy and like environmentally friendly ways to energize our cities, cars, all of these things. Like
workers decide what cars to make, and Canadian consumers should decide what cars to buy. In other words, get rid of the mandate and put you back in the driver's seat on the vehicles you choose to drive. Secondly, I don't know what's worse, Trump's tariffs or Carney's taxes. He's got an industrial carbon tax that applies to almost everything that goes into making an automobile. The plastics, the rubber.
why? Why? You're not saying why. You're just saying them as bad things, and like rubber, plastic, rubber and plastic, bro. That's because it's extremely harmful to create and dispose of.
The steel and the could potentially be produced or altered or changed are all more expensive because of an industrial carbon tax that does not exist on the American side of the border but does on our side. This drives.
Yeah, motherfucker, and that's why they're burning the world to the ground. Like, they have no regulations and it's a fucking fascist authoritarian regime. Look what happened. Shut the fuck up. Like, what are you talking about?
Production and paychecks out of our country. Let's get rid of the entire carbon tax for everyone, for everything, for good. Let's cut tax on investment by allowing people to reinvest, and businesses to reinvest their capital gains tax-free as long as it's invested here in Canada. In fact, let's take all taxes off of Canadian-made automobiles so that our consumers have an incredible incentive to buy Canadian. We need to fight for our workers, fight for our people and our production. We need to start to put Canadian business, Canadian workers, and Canadian
By Canadian businesses, he means corporations. He is not fighting for the working class. He's a
quality of life first. In fact, let's put Canada first.
Motherfucker, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are you on about? Like, I question his brain capacity sometimes. He is such a little bitch. Jesus fuck. Anywho. Jesus fuck. Okay, they're talking about this on CTV. God, I hate him so much. What?
And with me now is Scott Reed, CTV News political commentator. Good morning, Scott.
Hey, Renee, let's do this as a walk and talk. That looks like it's the cool thing to do these days.
Yeah, it was a little Rick Mercer-esque, wasn't it?
I thought, yes.
All right, Scott, given this latest escalation in the trade war with Donald Trump, what should Canada's next move be to restore trade talks?
I think now might be a time to stand firm. And if you look at it in terms of the context with the Prime Minister in Asia, reaching out, discussing with other Asian countries the possibility of increasing trade relations, of trying to draw investment.
What he's talking about right now, Carney is at the ASEAN summit in Malaysia. Yeah, Malaysia. He is, it's the Association of Southeast Asian Nations.
And boost trade with those countries. Now's probably the time to stand a little firm. This entire incident underscores the irrationality, the absurdity of dealing with Donald Trump. You can't even tell the truth now to Americans. You can't even quote a former president these days. Here's
another thing I just thought of. All of Pierre's criticisms were about the U.S. trade talks. Most Canadians don't even want, like, we're all boycotting buying American. And yes, for certain sectors like production and like auto, yes, that's important. But we're also, you failed to mention the fact that Carney has been, again, like, I'm not even a Carney supporter. I didn't even vote for the guy. Like, I'm not, like, I disagree with him on a whole bunch of issues. But I know that he is leaps and bounds better than Pierre Poilievre would ever be in his wildest fucking dreams. So, right now I'm repping Carney instead of, like, against Pierre. Like, I don't care. Pierre is just a fucking, like, oh my God, he would not have the ability to make all of these deals around the world. He does not have, he's just a bitch, dude. He just has such a punchable face. Like, oh my God, like, Carney has made new trade deals with so many nations and free trade deals, and you cannot criticize what's going on with the U.S. without acknowledging the fact that Trump is a tyrant, a toddler, a fucking idiot, a fascist, authoritarian, dictatorial piece of shit, and the fact that Carney has increased trade with half the fucking world. And we all want to move away from the U.S. Like,
that happens to run contrary to the opinions or the policies of the President of the United States. He cannot brook challenge of any kind. I think, therefore, the Prime Minister's position of let's stand ready for talks, let's have talks in a calm and collected fashion when we can, but we cannot respond and be pushed by every whim of Donald Trump because he's just absolutely too unpredictable and we can't rely on him.
Now, Scott, we have a new clip. We haven't yet shown it to our viewers today, but I want to get you to react to it. And it came from Prime Minister Mark Carney earlier today in an address to various investors in Asia. And it was about Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who is, of course, behind the anti-tariff ad that has upset the president. So first off, let's just take a listen.
A few days ago.
Still, I said this yesterday, still not even near the top on the list of like Ford family fuck ups. So don't stress, Dougie. I do not. I'm not conservative. I'm NDP voter through and through, and I do not agree with most of these people. But the Fords are so fucking funny to me. Oh, Canada.
I launched with my good friend, Premier Ford. Did I say good friend, Premier Ford? I said the always entertaining, the always interesting, the always unpredictable.
Did I say good friend? Scott, your take on the meaning behind those comments.
You know, it's a public acknowledgement. It's a nod toward the tension that's arisen as a consequence of this ad. But you can tell the Prime Minister is also being careful not to back away from it, because there is this tricky balance to be struck. Canadians want two things, and they want them both at the same time, even if they appear to be contradictory. They want their leaders, the Prime Minister, the federal cabinet, premiers, business leaders, they want them to secure some kind of predictability, some kind of reliability in terms of trade relations with the United States, because they know our jobs, our industry, and our well-being depend on it. But at the same time, they want our leaders, all those very same leaders, to stand up to Donald Trump, to push back on his bullying and his belligerence. And it's striking that balance. You can see the Prime Minister is struggling with, not just in substance, but also in comment as he skirts around this issue. And
Thank you, sir. I very much agree with skirts around the issue. Carney is extremely skilled at dancing around the point. He is a politician through and through. I wish he would just come out and say, like, I understand just being brash and like hot-headed is not the way to go about this, but at the same time, I do wish he would step up to the plate in a way that is a little more take a little bit more of a fighting stance than a patient stance, I guess. And stop trying to like dance around the point so much. Just come out and say what you think, dude.
deals with this issue of the ad that was launched by Ontario. It's a very challenging circumstance, and it's made challenging, let's be crystal clear, not by Doug Ford, not by business leaders here in Canada, not by the Prime Minister of the federal government. What makes all of this fundamentally and constantly difficult is the irrationality, the lack of attachment to truth, and the unpredictability of Donald Trump. He is the villain in this movie.
Now, meanwhile, Carney, Trump, and
Period.
other world leaders are attending the ASEAN summit, where Carney emphasized that Canada wants to be viewed as a reliable partner who honors their commitments. Is there a strong enough case to support this?
Well, I think there is. There was a commentator in an earlier piece you ran that.
Okay, so that's exactly what I mean. There's a perfect example. Carney said Canada wants to be seen as a reliable partner. What he means is they're a very unreliable partner, and we will be reliable. And we are a powerhouse in terms of trade. What I want is for him to just come out and fucking say that. Just say it. Like, I'm so tired of politicians speaking in politician speak. Like, just come out and say what you mean. Like, oh my God, it's just so fucking frustrating. I don't know if everybody else is tired of it. I am glad that our politicians seem to have have decorum. Well, not Pierre. I hate him. it is nice in contrast. Like, I appreciate the professionalism of our leadership versus others, but I'm okay with you just letting the walls down for sometimes. Like, even if you want to come, like, fucking Benjamin Netanyahu goes and speaks in Hebrew and says whatever the fuck he wants. Go and make a fucking, like, go make a fucking speech in French and they wouldn't even know.
Spoke to the sort of three-dimensional chess, though, that's having to happen here. Because even as we say, let's open up more discussions with more partners in Asia, because if we're not going to have as full access to the United States, we've got to go looking elsewhere. Even as we do that, the President of the United States will be placing pressure on Canada and even some of those Asian leaders to say, hang on, I don't want to see that happen, because he's got geopolitical interests with China. I mean, this is the absurdity of this circumstance. Donald Trump is limiting our access by whim to the United States market, and then turning around and saying, don't you dare go looking for opportunities with the Chinese or other countries. Well, I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Too bad, bitch. Already been done. It's already in the works. Like, too bad, bitch. Fuck you. If you want to be an unreliable fucking prissy bitch, throw tantrums over fucking stupid shit like a fucking commercial, then we're probably just gonna walk away. We've launched a nationwide boycott of your products, of things manufactured in your state, in your country. We started to boycott travel to the U.S. We have done everything that we can to distance ourselves from you, and we're not going to stop. Mark Carney represents the people of Canada, and the people of Canada are done with you.
You can't hold our hands back and slap us in the face. At some point, we have to respond.
It is a tightrope, it's a roller coaster, it's a number of other metaphors as well, Scott, but we will have to leave it there. Thank you very much for this, Scott. Great seeing you this morning.
Thanks. Have a great morning.
You too. That is Scott Reid, CTV News political commentator.
Fuck Pierre Poilievre.